The paradox of honesty. How telling the truth limits opportunities in life and love. Society upholds honesty as one of the highest virtues. From childhood, we are taught that honesty is the best policy, and that telling the truth will always lead to better outcomes in life and relationships. However, the reality is often more complicated. While society may praise truth-telling in theory, in practice, those who are forthright often face more challenges than those who choose to deceive or obscure the truth. In matters of love, business, and everyday life, honesty can limit options, while dishonesty frequently seems to open doors. This paradox, the idea that truth is idealized, but not always rewarded, forces us to confront uncomfortable realities about human nature and societal expectations. The person who tells uncomfortable truths may find themselves facing rejection or fewer opportunities, while the person willing to lie, manipulate, or obfuscate may experience greater short-term success. This raises a difficult question. Why does a society that praises honesty often reward dishonesty? The reality of honesty in relationships. The dynamics of truth-telling versus deception are especially evident in romantic relationships. A man who openly admits that he is not interested in monogamy may find himself with fewer romantic prospects compared to a man who falsely claims to be committed to one partner, only to engage in infidelity later. The latter may be seen as more attractive, initially appearing to align with societal expectations of loyalty and commitment. Yet, this kind of deception often leaves behind a trail of broken hearts and disrupted lives. Why does this happen? Psychologically, many people want to hear what aligns with their expectations and desires, even if it isn't the truth. Behavioral economist Dan Ariely, in his book The Honest Truth About Dishonesty, suggests that humans are motivated by self-deception as much as by deceiving others. People often turn a blind eye to red flags in relationships because they want to believe that their partner embodies the traits they value, such as honesty or loyalty. The result is that the person willing to tell a comforting lie may initially have more success in relationships than someone who tells an uncomfortable truth. This tendency to value perceived honesty over actual truth can be seen in countless examples. Consider the case of Ted Bundy, the notorious serial killer who, despite his heinous actions, was able to charm and manipulate many women. Bundy presented himself as an ideal partner, charming, intelligent, and seemingly trustworthy, while hiding his dark reality. His ability to deceive allowed him to avoid suspicion for a long time, whereas someone presenting an honest but less charming persona might have been dismissed outright. While Bundy's case is an extreme example, it illustrates how easily people can be swayed by appearances and words that align with their desires, rather than hard truths. Beyond romantic relationships, the paradox of honesty extends into the broader social and professional world. Telling the truth can be risky, especially when the truth challenges societal norms, expectations, or power dynamics. For example, whistleblowers who expose corruption or wrongdoing in organizations often face severe consequences, from job loss to public vilification. Despite the moral and ethical imperative to tell the truth, society does not always reward such actions. One well-known case is that of Edward Snowden, the former National Security Agency (NSA) contractor who leaked classified information about the US government's mass surveillance programs in 2013. While many hailed Snowden as a hero for exposing the truth about government overreach, he was also widely condemned as a traitor and forced to seek asylum in Russia to avoid prosecution in the United States. Snowden's case highlights the cost of truth-telling, especially when that truth threatens powerful institutions or contradicts accepted narratives. At a more personal level, people who are bluntly honest in social or professional situations may find themselves alienated. A person who openly criticizes a flawed project at work, even if their critique is accurate, might be labeled as difficult or negative, while someone who sugarcoats the situation may be seen as more agreeable and promotable. This dynamic creates a culture where people feel pressured to say what others want to hear, rather than what is true. The tension between the ideal of truth-telling and the reality of how truth is received is deeply embedded in human history and culture. Philosophers and thinkers throughout history have grappled with the moral implications of honesty versus deceit. In the Republic, Plato explores the concept of the noble lie, a falsehood that, while untrue, is told for the greater good. This idea suggests that sometimes society itself is built on necessary deceptions, myths or narratives that people accept in order to maintain social cohesion. The German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche took a more cynical view of truth, famously stating, "Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed." Nietzsche believed that much of human interaction is based on illusions, and that challenging these illusions with truth can lead to discomfort, conflict, and even alienation. This discomfort is part of why people are more likely to accept lies that fit their worldview, rather than truths that challenge it. In the modern era, these ideas manifest in the rise of truthiness, a term coined by comedian Stephen Colbert to describe the phenomenon of believing something based on how it feels, rather than whether it is objectively true. In an age of misinformation and carefully curated social media personas, the line between truth and deception has become increasingly blurred, making it harder for individuals to discern fact from fiction. The short-term success of deception often comes at a long-term cost, both for the individual and for society. When people engage in deception, whether in relationships, business, or politics, they may gain temporary advantages, but these gains are typically unsustainable. Relationships built on lies are likely to crumble once the truth emerges, and organizations that thrive on deceit often face scandals, loss of trust, and long-term reputational damage. The individual who chooses to lie or obscure the truth may also suffer psychological consequences. Research has shown that living in deception can lead to increased stress, anxiety, and a sense of moral dissonance. Over time, the burden of maintaining lies can weigh heavily on a person's mental health. A 2015 study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that individuals who are honest experience greater mental clarity, lower stress levels, and higher overall well-being compared to those who engage in frequent dishonesty. While it is clear that telling the truth can lead to fewer options or more challenges in life, the long-term benefits of honesty, both for individuals and for society, are worth the short-term difficulties. To bridge the gap between society's idealization of truth and its tendency to reward deceit, we must create a culture that values honesty, even when it is uncomfortable. This means fostering environments where people feel safe to speak the truth without fear of judgment or punishment. One way to do this is by embracing truth with compassion. Instead of harshly criticizing others for their shortcomings or mistakes, we can encourage honest conversations that prioritize growth and understanding. In relationships, this might mean being vulnerable and open about one's desires and boundaries, rather than resorting to deceit to meet expectations. In the workplace, it might mean creating systems where transparency is rewarded and mistakes are seen as opportunities for learning rather than failures to be hidden. While telling the truth may limit options and create challenges, especially in a world that often rewards deception, it ultimately leads to stronger relationships, personal integrity, and societal trust. The paradox of honesty, where society praises truth but rewards dishonesty, can only be resolved when individuals and communities commit to valuing truth, even when it is inconvenient. By embracing honesty with compassion, we can build a world where truth-telling is not a liability, but a strength.